Hello, hello. Let's hang on for just a second and see if anyone else is going to join us. Welcome, Annie, by the way. It's good to see you as always. Okay, just making sure my live is good. Annie, what have you been up to? I mean, obviously, besides your pumpkin painting, which turned out, it looks really good. Hello, Meta. Welcome. And Meta, what have you been? Oh, you've been working on the pumpkins, huh? How's that coming out? You said that I think you said that you pushed it a little bit further, but I don't remember seeing that. Did I miss it? Or did you not post it yet? Let's see, what am I working on? Prints. Guys, I am in print hell, which is actually not a bad place to be, but I am there. So, because I did a bunch of, hello, Ma. Since I did a bunch of test prints, I had these big rolls of paper like scattered all over my house with test prints all over them. I had about 12, maybe 15 of them yesterday. They were just kind of sitting in the corner of my living room over there. And I was like, I got to get rid of these. They have to go to the recycle bin. So, but I didn't want somebody like dumpster diving in my recycle bin as if that's actually a danger. But I didn't want somebody to be able to get in there, get their hands on them, and decide that the test prints are good enough and just do something with them. I don't know what. But so I wanted to destroy them so they couldn't be whatevered. So I was standing out in my driveway yesterday, seriously, for like probably at least 10 minutes, just ripping these huge, like 24 by 48 sheets of paper. Just trying to rip each image into like 4 bits and almost filled my recycle bin. And that ain't all that's ready to go in there. That's just what I got to. Oh, Meta, you sound so much like me. Doing some good progress on the painting, but gotta stop it because this other one is calling and that needs to be done. Yeah, I do have that. I have that little house that I started working on again yesterday. You might have seen that if you were at the live event. Obviously, I finished the doll. Finally, she was hanging over my head like a freaking sword of Damocles or something. Oh, I need to paint her frame. I've started. I gave it a chromatic black underpainting, just my QBO turquoise mixture. But it's very transparent, obviously, so you can see the brown and the blue to it and everything. But so I just kind of underpainted it with that. And then I'm going to do, I really should, you know what I should do? Tell me what you guys think of this idea. I'm thinking about maybe going and buying some of that crackle paint, like the, what's that brand called? Deco Art. You paint it on and then you let it sit for a minute and then you paint over top of it and then as it dries it crackles. So I was thinking maybe I should go get some of that for the frames and put some gold over it so I get a little bit of gold crackly just here and there, not all over the entire frame. That's too much. It just looks cheap that way. I might do that today. I might do that. Oh, you posted on Discord? You feel like a fraud because it's basically a copy of what I've done. So what? That doesn't make you a fraud. What are you talking about? Ooh, wow. Okay, hang on. Let's start with pumpkins. Yeah, look at your shadows and everything, your little details that you're pulling out in the flowers. It's looking really, really good. Good job. And the window, heck yeah. How did you find it? painting on the frame with the texture. How was that for you? Was it hard? Sometimes I feel like it's really hard to paint on the frame, and so I just kind of skip it. Sometimes I'll do it, sometimes not. But I didn't invent that. There's actually a guy, I guess he's primarily on TikTok, but I watch him on like Instagram and stuff, who he does these like horror TikToks or whatever. And in his dining room, he's got a painting that's painted out onto the frame. And it's okay. It's a little bucolic for me, not my favorite, but like, so I didn't invent it. You're not being you're not a fraud. Um oh, Annie's been playing with soft pastels and Inktense pencils. Heck yeah. I love Inktense pencils. Um yeah, it's definitely hard. A lot of times when I do that, whatever hits the frame gets blurrier. Like I'll do that on purpose. It doesn't get detail. I don't try to keep my lines quite as crisp or as straight. I let things kind of blur out when it hits the frame. So that makes it a little bit easier sometimes too. It is time consuming. It is. Um, yeah. So thanks for listening to my rant today about what do I talk about? So when I talked about being overwhelmed, it's like I'm fine. I didn't want to give the impression that I'm like just struggling and so overwhelmed in life right now. Definitely had my moment in that, but that's not where I am right now. I think my brain right now, it's just like I need to do this, and I think in metaphors a lot. So a thought of I need to do this might typically be about this size, but right now my brain is like I need to do this, and the thought is this big, and that's what's overwhelming me, and so I'm just kind of dealing with that. But so it's not a big deal. I'm very good. Um. Oh, cool. So it's a real place. Oh, a cemetery. I gotta see that. I love the way you did those trees, though. That, like with the white, like the sky poking through, and man, you went all out with those raindrops. Good job. I couldn't. I got bored halfway through. I had planned to. Wow. I had planned on doing more raindrops, but then I got into them and I was like bored. Thank you, Annie. So that's what that was, but I'm good, I promise. Um, so yeah, I think we're just gonna kind of chat today. We can talk. I've got this thing set up for paint so that we can whoops, so we can come in here and do some little demos for perspective. Especially, I had a couple people, I think, ask about perspective. So let's just go over that right now because we're already talking about it. Um, yeah, it is meta. It is really hard to remember that, especially when your brain is screaming about all of the things at once. Like this morning, I I was overwhelmed because we were getting ready to go to the gym and I hadn't come up with anything to talk about today. And so my brain was like, gotta go to the gym, gotta give it your all. Okay, but what am I gonna do at 1 o'clock? And so I just had like these two things that were just bashing each other in the head. Hello, Debbie. And I think that's kind of where that came from. Even while I was at the gym, my brain was kind of like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do today? And yeah, so gym was a little hard today. But also, I think my meds are making the gym hard. Um, I get nauseous when I go to the gym, and I feel like I've been going for almost a year by now. That should be over with. So, yeah, I think I'm going to talk to my doctor this week about trying some different meds because I don't want to feel like I'm in a barf every time I go to the gym. Okay, let's talk about some perspective. So, let me get it so you guys can see. Now, guys, I need you to remember that I'm not a pro at perspective, like by any means. There's a couple of rules that or not rules, I guess. There's a couple things that I focus on when I'm doing paintings to try and make my perspective as close to correct as possible. And then in other ways, I just kind of let it go. Um, like in the rainy window, I did kind of let it go. I was like, it's good enough. But it didn't work out. So the windowsill, I was like, it's wider in the front and more narrow in the back. This is good enough. But then when it was done, it looked like the windowsill was narrow like this at the back and that it got wider in the front. So it was too much. If I were a better artist, I would probably have all of that nailed down, but I don't. But I'll teach you what I know about perspective. And hopefully that can kind of get you started. So when I'm painting perspective, it's typically about a road, a path, a river, a stream, a body of water of some kind. So let's focus on that first. So I'm going to do this crazy little illustration that I do to kind of get us started. So let's pretend we have a lake or a pond and it is relatively perfectly round. Okay? When we're painting that, the way that we render that pond is going to be what's important in our perspective. So let's see what it looks like from a bunch of different perspectives, okay? So right here, we've got a high vantage point. And then we've kind of got a cliff. Maybe there's another little jut there. A cliff. And then here's the flatland. And on that flatland right here is where our pond is. So we're going to talk about 4 different vantage points. So if we are a little guy and we're standing right here, doink, doink, and I don't draw stick figures well. He needs a smile. Okay, it's more of a irritated face. So if he's standing there on the ground where the body of water is and he's looking at it, what's going to happen is it's going to get squashed. So if you think about, I had a drink here earlier and now it's gone. Hang on, let me grab this candle. That'll work. Okay, so let's jump over to here real quick. So let's pretend we have this candle and it represents the lake. That's the shape of our body of water, okay? As we turn it flat so that we're looking at it across, you notice from my perspective, and you can see it there too, it's very narrow here. It's much wider here. And it almost is pointed. It's almost pointed there on the sides. So if our guy is standing there, then our body of water is going to look about like that. If he even got lower, let's say that he was buried up to his neck or laying on the ground, the body of water might look like that. Just a flat line. Just like if I hold the candle up eye level, it's pretty much a flat line. Okay. Now, if we take our little guy and let's put him up here, he doesn't have a mouth anymore because that was too hard for the artist. and he's looking down at the pond. So you can think of it like this. You can take like a candle or something here, have it at eye level, bring it down a bit, and see how it changes. So what he might see, let's see, let's arrow this to say this guy is seeing that. This guy is seeing that. This guy is going to see this. Now it's going to be more open, but it's still going to be wider than it is deep. Now this guy up here, oh, he's just got a gigantic head for some reason. And he's looking down at even a sharper angle. So he's probably going to see the pond almost completely rounded. It's probably going to be still just a little squished. Now I said we were going to have 4, but then I came up with this little guy. So technically we have 5. This guy is flying. Maybe he's got superpowers. Maybe he's in an airplane. But he's looking straight down. So he is going to see the pond like that. Just like if you take something round and you look straight down at it, you see it as round. So think about that. It's gone. What? Oh my gosh, you guys. Ugh. Yeah, I figured it out. Sorry. Okay, let me just run over it real quick. One more time. Okay, so the guy standing on the ground, he's looking out here. He's going to see the pond pretty much like this. Squashed. Sharp edges. Sharp pinches on the edges. The guy buried up to his neck is pretty much going to see it as a straight line. The guy up here on the cliff, it's still going to be wider than it is tall, but it's not going to have the sharp edges like this one. This guy up here, it's still going to be a little squished because he's still looking at it from the side. But then this guy who's flying up in the air, looking directly down, he's going to see the circle. So now you see it all. Sorry, you guys. I feel like such a goon. So when you're painting something like a body of water or something, and we're going to move on to like roads and streams because that's where things get really challenging sometimes. Stop and look at it and think, does it look right? If it doesn't look right, don't hesitate to, let's start over here. Don't hesitate to mess with it to get it right, because perspective on something like that is kind of a big deal. If it's off, then the whole thing could fall apart. All right, so we're going to say this is our canvas, okay? This is what we're painting on today. Shout out if you guys have any questions. Yeah, so we're going to do like a little pond here, okay? So we're going to put our horizon up here because we always keep it off the center line. Maybe we've got some bushes or trees, whatever. Just some stuff like this. And we want a pond in this area. We don't want it to look like we're kind of up above looking down. We want it to look like we're standing on the ground here, looking out at this pond. And this is a large area that I've given us here. So that large area can already feel pretty expansive and deep. But it's what you do with it. Hello, Donna. That is going to make it seem like that is not all that far away from us, like this, the horizon with the trees. And one of the ways we're going to do that is with our pond. So let's take our pond. It's not going to be a perfectly rounded one, but see those sharp angles that I've got in there? See how sharp those angles are? So that feels like more like we're standing here now. We can kind of go like this, give some more little bushy things or whatever. And that feels like a little bit, it almost feels like just like a small pond in a clearing. And what that probably looks like from above is probably, it probably looks something like that. But these, can you see that? It's behind my head. Here, let me move my head. There we go. These curves here are probably what's making these sharp curves right there. So let's do like this. Let's say we still want that same vibe. We want it to look like we're standing right there. And we know that our pond is roughly shaped like this. So let's go in here and we're going to go like that. Now, how that feels to me is that we're up high looking down. We're not right above it, obviously, because it's not quite this. So when that happens and you're like, that just doesn't look right, chances are you're not going tight enough, because that's what I see the most of. And Meta, I think it was you who said it in Discord, about not going far enough, afraid to take your perspective too far. So let's talk about that. So we have, well, let's see, we'll keep that on there. We have this and we're like, no, this just doesn't look like I'm looking right at it from standing next to it. How do I make it look like that? Remember about painting what you see, not what you know. This shape is, I know what shape this pond is. It's not what we see. So instead, we're going to come out flat. See, that is pretty flat. I'm going to double back pretty quick and back and back like that. That would be a little bit better of a way to describe the water rather than the big spread out shape. Oh, okay. Oh, how funny. Got almost the same shape there. So let's see. I think your shape is actually pretty good. You could always, it almost, the one thing it looks like to me is, and I know this is that painting, isn't it, Meta? The one that you've gone over like 12 times. It almost looks to me like we were afraid to have the water touch the deer or go past the deer. Like, I think you probably put the deer there and then did the water. Am I correct? I would almost suggest pointing that off and bringing it in so that it ends just a little bit under the deer's belly. Just like a sharp little boink. You know what I mean? That might adjust that perspective just a little bit. Yeah, exactly. That's how I knew that you did the deer and then the water, because the water comes right up to the deer and then it stops. And Those are kissing elements. Remember, we talked about no kissing elements. Things are either completely separate or they overlap. And right here, they're kind of kissing. So we either need to keep some distance between them, which I think you would make your pond too small if you were to put distance between them. So I would overlap them just a bit, not a lot. Don't make it weird. Make sure that the top edge of the water, the bank, doesn't touch the deer's belly. Make sure you can still see some green there, but just pinch that right under the belly, if that makes any sense. You want it to look like the deer's at the water's edge. Yeah, that's going to do it. I think you can bring that bit in that's right in front of the deer's feet, but definitely get it going underneath and behind the deer. And if you're really gutsy and you want to take it out a little farther so it comes out the back of the deer, so it comes most of the way across the canvas, you could do that too. And those trees, especially the ones on the right, those look really good. Really, really good. Excellent. Okay, let's talk about like roads, streams, rivers, whatever. First, we're going to start with what I see all the time, okay? Whether it's a path or a road, sometimes rivers, but usually it's paths and roads. I'll see this. So that's pretty good. You know, we've got a good start. There's a lot of ways we can go there. And then that. So what does this look like to you? Let's say that there's a tree here. And I'm hoping those aren't solicitors who are going to knock on my door. That's what I was looking at. Sorry. Okay, there's some trees here. There's another tree here. Just to give us a sense of scale. What does it look like is happening here? We're going to say this is a trail. I'm going to wait. I'm going to let somebody answer. Tell me what you think that looks like is happening. Uphill. Exactly. It looks like it's going uphill. Do you know why it looks like it's going uphill? This is the hard question. So when you're painting and you are looking at it and you're like, that looks like it's going uphill, how do I fix it? This is where the experimentation comes into play. So it looks like it's going uphill, and a short hill at that, for two reasons. First of all, it doesn't terminate. Right here, we can still see two separate lines. They don't come to a point. The other thing that makes it look like it's going up a hill is this is almost as wide as this. That says there's very little distance between them. Very little. In fact, I'm going to show you a quick. This is to illustrate how much of a difference there is, even if you think there isn't. Okay, so get my little measuring tape, and I've got this little painting sitting here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this painting at about eye level, just below eye level. And actually, I'm going to put it on my knee because I need both hands. All right. So I know that this canvas or the frame is 14 centimeters, 14 and a half centimeters on the front and on the back. But like this, as it's going into the distance, okay, the back there is about 8.5 centimeters, and the front here is about 14 centimeters. Now I didn't move the measuring tape forward and backward. I only moved it up and down. So 14 just under 8.5. That's a big difference. That's a really big difference in just a small thing. Where this, let's see, got 1 centimeter in the back and a little more than 2 in the front. So there's a difference, but it's not that dramatic. Let's instead change it up. And remember that things get dramatically wider. And if you want it to look like it goes off into the distance, get those 2 points at least almost touching. Now I can come out like this and, well, not that far. I'm trying to do this with a trackpad, and sometimes the mouse just starts streaking off in its own direction. All right. So we'll get like a tree or something here. This now looks like it's going off. You guys, thanks, Annie. Sorry. That now looks like it's going off into the distance. It still looks a little uphill to me. And I think it's because it's actually not really wide enough at the bottom, but it vanishes into the distance. So if I go, let's see, let's get rid of that line. Let's do it one more time with this line here. Like that. That's a little bit more accurate, I think. You'd want to keep like some small things on the horizon. If you come in here with like this big stuff on the horizon, it's going to look real big. So keep that small. But now can you see how it looks like I'm standing in the middle of a road, looking at the road that goes off into the distance? It's going to be the exact same thing if we're going to talk about like rivers. It's going to be a combination between like a pond and a road. So let's do that. We're going to have a river that starts in the distance. We're going to have it vanish into the distance, right? Because rivers don't go uphill. And we're going to have it be really big, but we're not standing inside the river. So we're going to kind of come out. See, it's mostly horizontal. And then I've got these sharper turns, but most everything is pretty horizontal. Back here, it's going to start where it started before. Everything is very tight, very, very close together. But as it gets closer, we start getting wider, let's see, wider distances. No, not that. We don't like that. That was caca. Okay. Maybe off the canvas to really sell it. And so there's a bit of a river that's going to be more believable than if we were to go, let's see, we'll do it in red. Do you see how those very open turns, they just don't do the thing. Tight turns. And if you're not certain, like everything else looks good except this, and you're not sure how to make that better, put a tree over it or something. Trees can hide a lot of things, but get it at least close enough. I'm a big fan of hiding things. Um, did that help anyone? Does anybody have any other questions about it? Like, is there something specific in perspective that you struggle with? I'm sure that, drawing buildings and things like that, but that's not something that I don't do a ton of it. Um, if I'm doing a building, chances are I have a reference image and I'm gridding the building on. I'm not real great with those kinds of things. I just haven't spent a lot of time in that. Did I lose everybody? You're so quiet all of a sudden. Okay. That's true. They don't run uphill, but they can run downhill. So let's just do this real quick. Let's sell that a river is coming downhill, okay? I mean, one way you could do it, we're going to do it just about like that. And then we'll have the other. Yeah, that was yucky. Okay, let's say like that. And it does kind of look like it's going uphill. This actually looks like it's going uphill. It wasn't sharp enough there. Okay. So one way you could sell that it's going uphill is to make sure that you've kind of got some areas where maybe you've got some rocks, whatever. So you can do like some splashies. Because if it's going downhill, chances are it's going to have a little bit of some splashies here and there. You didn't see that at all. Guys, I'm tired. I know I'm tired of it. We're done with it. In fact, I'm closing it right meow. Goodbye. No, just close the dang thing. Why would I want to save that? I'm not doing that anymore because I'm too distracted to flip the screen around. Thanks for putting up with me. All right. Another thing you guys talked about, a couple people, was frames for prints. And I don't have a print that I can demonstrate, but I'm going to show you. Annie, I think you said that you weren't sure about what a mat was. So I'm sure they have them in the UK. They might just call them something different. So I have a frame here. I like these frames. They're on sale at Michael's right now. They're these Studio Decor Belmont. They're like $18 by themselves, but they're on sale, buy one get one free right now. And I bought every black one they had in 8x10. So, okay, I'm going to take the back off and I'm going to show you. So, okay, good. It's not just me. Thank you. These frames do come with glass in them. And when you're framing an acrylic painting, you never, I don't care. Look, I know that there are some YouTubers who are like, put it under glass. Don't do it, guys. Because here's a couple reasons why. Ouch. When you put acrylic under glass, so acrylic is plastic, right? Acrylic paint is plastic. And plastic off gases. It just does. And probably over time it won't off gas as much, but early in the painting's life, it's going to off gas a little bit. And it could create like a film on the glass, and then you can't even see the painting as well anymore. Another thing is if that glass is touching the paint at all, that acrylic paint is going to stick to the glass, especially over time. The longer it's in there, especially as it is exposed to humidity or heat, the plastic, the paint is going to start binding to the glass. And then when you finally take the glass off for whatever reason, it's going to rip the paint off. Your painting's ruined. Speaking of humidity, if you put it behind glass, because it is plastic and plastic does not breathe, it doesn't, let oxygen or moisture pass back and forth through it, you can develop mold on your painting between the glass and the painting. So don't put acrylic behind glass. It doesn't need it anyway. It's the acrylic paint is plastic. I mean, it's fine. If it gets dusty, you can get a damp rag and wipe it off gently, and it's gonna be fine. So there's no need to put it behind glass. Now, a print, a piece of paper, yeah, you're gonna want to put that behind glass because it's delicate. If it gets dusty or if something gets splattered on it, you can't just wipe it off. So this frames like this come with glass, as you can see. Oh, you can see my Monstera there. She looks so pretty. So you do want to use that glass prints. Now this is an 8x10, and you can see it says 5x7. That's the mat. The mat is making it a 5x7. Perspective consistency. No, I didn't struggle with the chairs behind my head because that was from a photo. So I gridded the image on there. But yeah, if I were to draw that by hand, oh yeah, I definitely would struggle with it. Yep. All right, so this is a mat. So what a mat does, pretend this is a beautiful image, okay? Let's pretend that this isn't this print here. And you bought it from me and it's a 5x7. I don't have any 5x7s. But this is a 5x7 mat. So let's say. So what you're going to do is take your mat, lay the image on it, tape it down, like Tammy said in Discord, with acid-free tape. Don't use regular tape. You can damage the print. So some acid-free tape, just tape it down to the mat. And then a 5x7 now fits in an 8x10 frame. And the mat just makes it look a little bit more finished. So let's see. So kind of like, it kind of gives you that type of a look, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, this painting is a 5x7. So then like that, and then it would fit in this frame. Does that help? The issue with the prints that I have made is that I'm offering sizes. They're all different sizes, and I want you to be able to buy a print in more than just its original size. So this is an 11x14. 11x14 aspect ratio is weird. The next size that would match an 11x14 is a 22x28. 11x14 doubled. There's not a smaller size that is also 11x14 aspect ratio. It would have to be, was that 5.5x7? And that's just not, you don't have that. There's not a 5.5x7. So when I make this print, for example, smaller and a 5x7, let's say, because this is a 5x7. What it's actually doing is it's going to resize the painting, the print, to the largest side. So basically an 11x14, sorry, I'm just trying to math in my head. An 11x14, when I print it down to a 5x7, let's say, it's going to be 7 inches wide, but it's not going to be 5.5 inches tall. It's going to be smaller than that. And that's why I have a white border around the edges. So what that means for you is, depending on what size of print you got, you might be able to just use the mat that comes with the frame, slap it on there, and it might be good. Or you might have to have a custom mat cut. I mean, it's a piece of cardboard. So that's all mats are. I never use mats. I put them straight into the recycle bin. Um, it's just a piece of cardboard, and I think most frame stores, if you take them the print and say, I have an 8x10 frame for this 5x7 print. I need a mat that is going to fit this print exactly. They'll measure it and cut it for you, and it's probably only a couple bucks. Like I said, it's just a piece of cardboard. So you might have to get a custom mat for some of the paintings or some of the prints, but they'll still fit into like a regular frame, if that makes any kind of sense at all. Sometimes I feel like I ramble, and the more I ramble and try and explain, the more confusing it gets. So, and then the glass, you can turn it into a new palette or put it in the recycle bin, which is where mine goes. Um, anyway, we got about 15 minutes left. What else do you guys want to talk about? And what should we do for our next event? I know I ask you guys so much, but sometimes I feel like constantly coming up with ideas it can be really hard for me after a while. I'm like, we've done that, we've done that, we've done that, we've done that. So it gets really challenging. So I really need your guys' help. I need your help. Tell me what you want to do. What am I working on for me? Oh, everything I do is for me these days. I I'm finally allowing myself to have that. Everything I paint is for me. Um, so I'm working on that little house that you saw yesterday. I've been wanting to finish that one for a while now. So that's my priority painting. Um, and I am painting the frame for the doll, which I hope to do today, but I have some running around that I have to do, so I might not. I have a 24 by 36 inch canvas. Thank you. I have a 24 by 36 inch canvas that I've started prepping. That's a big one, and I kind of want to paint another interior, like an abandoned house interior, or something like this, or like a vase of dead flowers on a table or something. So I'm still trying to come up with the best image for that. I feel like for such a large canvas, it's got to be just the perfect thing to go on it. Um, I haven't finished the fancy clock. The fancy clock has been sitting on the sidelines. Um, I think it's almost ready to paint. I was actually looking at it yesterday and I thought, "Ugh, I need to add just a few more of like the little flourishy, petally things. Um, and then it'll be ready to paint. But with prints and all these other paintings that I'm working on, I just have not even haven't had the time to even consider it. Haven't worked on houses, like my little house sculptures. My desk right now is just absolutely besodden with prints, and I have a chair, like a lounge chair. It's like an IKEA chair. It's very wide and it's cute. It's not something you want to sit in for a long time, but it sits next to my desk. And as I've been cutting out prints, I've been putting the cast off paper on that chair, and it's just like this mound. So getting rid of that is going to be next, but I might wait until my recycle bin gets emptied because woof. Um, yeah, I think all that I'm working on right now. Oh, I did finish 3 other silver paintings that I haven't shown anyone yet. They're not all that elaborate and fancy. Sometimes I do small, super simple paintings, especially after doing something, like this, because it just feels so easy. So, I finished the woman in the dress, I finished the green room, I finished the doll, and so I'm probably heading into a little bit of a simplistic phase for a minute. Um, oh yeah, I hope so. I hope so. And as soon as I'm done with the Kickstarter prints, I'm gonna make everything available on my website. Let me go grab those other paintings that I did real quick and show ya. Um, and yeah, and then I will. Whoops, sorry. And then I'll tell you something else. I'll be right back. So I was thinking about doing every 6 months or a year or whatever, doing another Kickstarter for prints, but I don't think I need to. I think, and if I do that, then I can't sell anything until after prints have been made. So I think I'm just going to start taking things, kind of piecemeal to my photographer. And right now I've got 5. I've got 5 new paintings that I want to do prints of. One is the green room, one is the doll, and then the other are these 3 little ones. So these are all painted in silver and black. Um, yeah, black and Payne's gray. I did use black. It's so hard to see them in here. I'm sorry about that. And of course, they have a gloss varnish on them. So there's that one. And that one you can see a little bit better for some reason. I really like the way these turned out. They are. They're very simple. But sometimes simple just feels so good to not have to worry about details. So yeah, these ones, the green room and the doll, I think I want to get prints made, so I might take them in the next week or so. They are simple. There's like no details. It's just blurry. So I mean there was a lot of layers, but the closest thing to details are these little flowery beds. And girl, that's splatter. I did not go in there and draw flowers. It's just splatter. I promise you these are simple. Look, there's not even tree trunks. There's a suggestion of a tree trunk. And again, splatter. Splattering can really elevate your painting. Simple. Splatter. That's it. Do you guys want to do some simple stuff like this? Well, sure, yeah, it's harder than it looks, of course, because that's how art is. If you're not used to working in layers and glazing, then that can be challenging. But you guys already know about working in glazing and layers. So if you want, it's up to you guys. We can do something like this. In fact, the background of the rainy window that I just did is very similar to how this was done. And so if you watch that video of the window that I just did, you'll see basically how I did these. But you're down for simple? All right. Well, we can do that next time. Sure. Um, maybe we will. Yeah. And I'll walk you through my process for this because when I do these, I don't have any I don't have any plan. I don't have a vision of like what kind of a composition or what kind of elements. I know I want something moody because that's how I roll. I don't do anything else. But yeah, these start from scribbles, and then you just kind of take a cue from what the scribble is doing and then you make it do what you want it to do. Um I painted 10 of those glazed ones last year. Oh, excellent, Annie. I think I remember that. Yeah, do more. I always work in a set of 3. Um, it's just for economy of movement and paint usage, things like that. So, yeah, when I did these, they were all lined up side by side on my easel, like that. And that's how I did them. And I usually do one in landscape or 2 in landscape and 1 upright. But this time I wasn't paying attention. I just went for it and I was like, oh, they're all portrait, which is actually my favorite. I do prefer a landscape in portrait orientation. I don't know why. I just really, really, that revs my engine. Um, what else you guys got? We still have a couple minutes left. Um, oh, yeah. Oh, I can't even imagine, Donna. I've never built a balloon arch, but yeah, I would say next time hire somebody to do that because it doesn't sound like fun. I bet it looks cool, but yeah, yeah, we'll do that next time. And our next get together. I don't know where my phone went. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Our next get together is gonna be next Saturday. So not this Saturday, the 7th. It's gonna be next Saturday, the 4th. Friday, not Saturday. Friday the 14th. So yeah, we can do some simple stuff like this, and I'll show you guys how simple it is. We'll do 3 of them in an hour. um, it might be a little longer than an hour. I don't know that I can commit to doing 3 of those in 1 hour. Prepare to stay for 2 hours, and that should be good enough. Okay, yeah. So next Friday, the 14th at 11, and then after that, Saturday, the 22nd at 10. Yeah, at 10. And that's what we've got for this month. I have not. Oh, I did schedule December. We have the 7th, the 19th, and the 27th. We can switch that 27th if we need to. We'll talk about that when it gets a little bit closer. Um, it's okay if it takes you 6 hours. It's not a race. I am much more practiced at it. And so here's what happens when you are newer to painting or newer to a technique, you have to spend more time thinking about it, planning it, trying things, backtracking those things. Your movements aren't quite as sure and as confident, so things take you a little bit more time. And that's not bad. It's not wrong. Doesn't it doesn't mean anything. But because I can make snap decisions as I'm going, because I do paint like that so often, that's probably the biggest reason it doesn't take me as long. And if you just give yourself that luxury as well to not worry about how long it's taking and just do the thing, you'll just get faster at it. It's just what happens. So, yeah. All right. Well, that was our hour. And I think I might let you go. I gotta go buy some of that crackle. No, no, no. No, no. I know. I just always have to go on the rant about it doesn't matter how long it takes you because it's girl, it's not just you. I hear that a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna go get me some of that crackle medium and do just like a little bit of crackling on that picture frame. Not gonna go crazy with it. Maybe. All right. You guys, thank you for hanging out with me today. It always means a lot to me. I love you guys to death. You are some of my favorite people on the planet. And yeah, I will see all of you again 2 Fridays from now. But Art Family members, I'll see you again probably Monday. I'm shooting. Oh, wait. Tomorrow's Monday. Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday. All right, you guys. Have a good rest